Hey, it's Doug Atkinson here at Identiverse 2018 in Boston, and we are with Baber Amin, CTO West from Ping Identity.
Thank you.
And if you notice in the background, Ping has a very large presence here because really they're one of the leading solution providers in the space, and the space is blowing up. I mean, this event is larger than last year. It's incredible
Keeps
what's
getting bigger
happening.
every year.
Uh, and and it's chiefly because of the exponential growth, threats, all the things that are happening in the space. I know you were speaking about APIs, and what is it, something like 19,000 APIs are now publicly available that need to be dealt with regard to identity.
Yeah, there's as of last month, there are approximately 19,000 open APIs that are discoverable, right? And which is great because it means that it's enabling new opportunities, new businesses, opening up new doors, allowing individual contributors to interact and provide higher value, and then that value is then combined together, packaged together, and provided to consumers, right? Um, but the flip side is that it's also opening up a huge amount of, it's introducing risk, right? Um, because if you're going to open up your APIs to the legitimate developers or the legitimate consumers, um, if you don't do it correctly, you're going to inadvertently open it up to the malicious developer or the malicious consumer.
Well, and this is really the conundrum that is happening at light speed right now. And it's only going to get more complicated as we move along toward 5G and all the other oncoming technologies that are just going to accelerate things. But talk about the flip side. So you do have two challenges, the benefits and obviously the vulnerabilities.
So the benefits obviously are huge, right? It is literally allowing people to take what they used to have and turn it inside out, right? Um, there are studies, like something like 46 to 48%, something close to 50% of people are doing banking is done online, right? 25% of households in at least in North America, in the U.S., are buying some form of their groceries online and getting it delivered, right? Um, People between the ages of 18 to 30, close to 60 to 65% of those people are watching streamed
Right.
TV,
It's unbelievable.
right? And guess what? Every single one of those things is enabled because of partnerships, open APIs, interactive, right? There's devices, there are smart devices, there's dumb devices, there is content providers, there's content syndicators, there's content viewers, there's content consumers, and that's just in the content side. There's a Brazilian company that has an online shopping mall, for lack of a better word, and they used to have 35,000 SKUs when it was all their products only.
Right.
They opened it up so that other vendors can sell their wares on this platform.
Sure.
And in a matter of months, they go from 35,000 SKUs to 1.5 million SKUs, right? And but what they did was they just enabled that opportunity, and now they're making money from that same platform that they had developed anyway. I mean, this is what Amazon does.
Exactly. Well, and they have, Lord knows how many millions of
That,
SKUs.
yeah.
And so really, it's the job of identity to almost chase this machine that's moving down the track here at such rapid speed, creating, certainly all this opportunity, but again, leaving a trail of vulnerabilities in its path.
So it's not as bad, and the reason I say that is that we already have standards that exist, right? So OIDF has created standards, the OAuth 2 standard, the OpenID Connect standard. Um, those standards actually do a really good job in providing security at the API level. Um, the the trick is, and the challenge is, that companies sometimes want to roll their own, and they obviously, only do the small little piece that they want to do, and do not think about the corner cases, the edge cases, or the vulnerabilities that might be introduced because um, they're using an application writer or a developer to perhaps code a security paradigm, right? So the standards do exist, and the standards are continuously evolving. With the FAPI working group, for example, or the FAPI uh, security profile for OIDC is all about securing financial APIs, right? We had a meeting yesterday with the open banking folks, talking about doing strong customer authentication in a manner that is not when you're sitting on your computer, but when you're at a gas pump, and you want to not use your credit card to pay. You want to use consent and do a direct payment transfer from your bank to the pump operator, right? You don't have a browser there,
Right.
right? So how do you do that? And without destroying the user experience, without making it so, adding so much friction that the user is not going to do it,
Right.
right? Um, so this challenge, or this balance of security and convenience.
Well, and that really is, in large part, the balance that needs to be struck. I mean, because there are several ways you can go. I mean, too little friction, too much vulnerability. You need to have some friction, certainly, in order to allow some reasonable level of authentication.
So it depends where you introduce friction, right? A lot of folks will take friction at, say, account creation or account vetting or account recovery, because those are processes that you need to provide extra vetting. If you can do, if you introduce friction there, or if you have a little bit higher friction at those points, but day-to-day usage is made friction-free.
That's the magic.
That's the magic. I'll give you a real world, like a non-computer example, right? So TSA pre.
Yep. Right.
A lot of friction.
There's a lot of magic in TSA pre.
To get, but there's a lot of friction to get the TSA pre, right?
No, I know, but once you have it, it is magic.
It is magic. So same thing happens here. If you introduce friction at the right points, and
That's a
actually
great example.
reduced friction in 90% of the cases, then.
Well, and so tell me about what Ping is, talking to customers about, certainly, again, the place is jumping. As people are coming in to talk to Ping, what are some of the main points you guys are highlighting this year?
So for us, the big highlight obviously is we're realizing that authentication and access control and secure authentication, or MFA, these things are all obviously overlapping, and they've been overlapping for a while. But more and more, instead of a single sign-on capability, it's really becoming a global authentication authority model, right? So, and when we say authority, it's because it acts as the orchestrator to let you choose different models, going back to the amount of friction that needs to be introduced.
Sure.
So the smarts are there, the intelligence is there, and the machine learning, the intelligence, the AI, all those things are actually feeding in and making sure that you're providing a frictionless or low friction experience in the long run, right? So authentication, access, single sign-on are kind of all the same, right? Identity proofing is the friction-full experience up front, which actually is the same experience you can do for account recovery also, because account recovery is an extreme form of authentication,
Sure.
right? Which is also what account creation is.
Yep.
The other thing that we're saying is that proofing at the account creation time actually is a business benefit also, not just a security benefit. The reason being that if I know who you are up front, I have cleaner data. If I have cleaner data, that means that I can give you better information, I can service you better. And I have less fake accounts, less bot accounts, less somebody making something up accounts. Right? So that's a side benefit, it's a business benefit.
Yep.
In addition to being a security benefit.
It's incredible what, I mean, you have really three types of users these days. You have, obviously employees, B2B, or B2E, I should say. You've got B2B vendors and so forth, but then you also have, the external consumer. Where's the growth opportunity for you guys? I mean, in terms of verticals, or in terms of size of enterprise, or just in terms of the complexity of an enterprise?
So we still see good growth in all B2E, B2B, B2C. There's obviously a huge opportunity in B2C that we have seen in the past. Our revenue and our customer base reflects that. We continue to see large growth in that, driven by GDPR requirements, driven by privacy concerns that people have, driven by the need to do stronger verification of users, stronger authentication of users, their consumers, right, and reducing their friction at the same time. So that's definitely an area of growth for us. From a vertical perspective, we are seeing large opportunities in financial services and healthcare. So both more regulated industries.
Sure.
And they're obviously, as they open up information, open up APIs, and open up interaction, they have to comply with certain regulation, and they have a little bit more set of controls that they have to deal with.
And where do you see us with regard to kind of the adoption curve? I mean, this is a much larger event than it has been. We feel like we're really kind of in the beginning stages of it, but where do you see things over the next couple of years?
I still feel that we are in the beginning of the adoption curve. A lot of things are helping the adoption, and that is really, I'll point to, the facial recognition capability on the iPhone. That is making people more comfortable, right? That I call that, that technology is now consumerized.
Yes.
Right? So people are more comfortable with that. They're more apt to use it.
So
right?
The cultural shifting that's happening is really kind of allowing the adoption to move
of
pretty quickly.
Yes, different technologies. People are more comfortable in not questioning the system when it kind of knows, hey, oh, Baber, you're back. Like, how do you know it was me?
That's right.
Right? But we're more comfortable in understanding that because we understand, there's a set of things happening in the background, and those things are really there to make sure that it is really me, because if it didn't think it was me, it was going to ask extra, put extra barriers and introduce extra friction at that point.
Well, this is an incredibly fascinating conversation. I'm amazed at how rapidly we're moving, and all of the complexity that's coming to bear on this. Thank you very much for coming by and sharing some of your insights on it. This is certainly a topic that we're covering a lot at Solutions Review, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.